One Piece. We're still on our cruise through the animation arcs. Today, Arlong Park Arc. Whoop!
Hello, friends. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Cinemondo podcast. We're talking about the One Piece anime, which is the most insane thing I've ever experienced. Almost, it's
crazy.
it is so different from the live action show that recently aired on Netflix, but in so many ways, it's very similar to it. It
It is.
beautifully melded somehow. They did such a great job of creating the live action thing. But the anime has its own charms. I actually really love the anime in a completely separate way.
Very separate projects. And, it's been kind of surreal because when we started, we didn't know anything about One Piece, but we knew a One Piece Netflix live action was coming out. We found out, we saw the trailer and went, what is this? This looks magical and insane. Then we
Yeah.
discovered it's a huge phenomenon around the world that we weren't aware of somehow. Then all these fans started saying, you guys need to check out the anime, check out the anime. And they were so cool and so amazing. I'm like, I want to check this out. So we found it, we started watching it. And this is my first experience with the long form anime. Like, I usually did not watch these. Captivated. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, this is so great. So we started watching it. And then we thought, let's do some arc reviews because I liked sharing it with people. They all wanted to talk about it. I love talking to people about it. So it was a great way to do these videos and talk to everyone. Then the Netflix thing came out. So at midway between our arcs for the Romance Dawn, Blue East Saga.
Yeah.
This is what the live action is basically, the Blue East Saga. For the most part, they kind of cut it off a little bit. But now we didn't know anything about it. We started watching the anime. We then started watching the Netflix live action before we finished the East Blue Saga.
Right.
So the Arlong Park arc is the first time we've watched it after seeing the live action.
Right.
It's kind of blowing my mind a little bit. Keep like, where am I? So that was kind of fascinating because we're still kind of new to it, but we got to see the live action like simultaneously, brand new, both of them. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's really showing you what the skill level of the folks who wrote the live action thing, that they were able to condense these first, 5, I think, arcs into an 8 episode series, which they did so well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I wish that it was in there, and there's a few things that changed that you're like, oh, where's so-and-so? Or how come we're meeting this person early or whatever? But the thing is, I just gotten to where I separate them. They're different worlds. They're the same thing, but they're different aspects of it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I like about it, because it's not in other words, it's not boring to watch one after you've seen the other, or
Very
or
different
vice versa,
vibe.
because it's a different thing.
It really is.
You're seeing a different version, and in so many ways it's very different. And even the feel is different in some ways. But the Arlong Park arc was similar to the live action. I mean, when you have Arlong and the henchmen and the whole that whole sad story where we get to see the story, and
Nami's thing was just terrible, like so heartbreaking. Like, and it was even almost worse in the anime. Like, it seemed more hardcore. It was really heartbreaking. Oh my God, it's just so sad. And she seemed more tragic, and her induction into Arlong's crew seemed even creepier. Like, it's just,
there's a lot of differences. There's a few little differences. I don't want to go too much into comparing the live action to the anime, because they're so different. We could sit here and do a whole episode about the differences, but pointless. There's better sources for that. But,
exactly. We're going to talk about the anime right now, but we thought we'd
talk
bring
about the anime on its own. But I mean, it is tragic. The story, Nami's story. You always worry about her because she always seemed like sketchy, and like,
she was being so weird, and she was being mean to Luffy. I did not like it.
She a good guy or bad guy? And the beautiful thing about it to me is there's one scene that they did do in both, and they did it beautifully in both, and it just tears your eyes up, is where she finally asked Luffy for help, and will you help me? And he says, of course I will. And that's like, what a great moment. And then
It was
he
so
goes
good.
off. He's like, okay, we're going to take care of this. And they go to the village, so you get this huge confrontation between the most intimidating villain so far.
Yeah.
I mean, Buggy is funny, and the other ones are kind of funny and almost ridiculous, caricatures of pirates. But Arlong has an edge to him that's malevolent. He is really bad.
Yeah.
And you don't know if, I mean, you kind of know because we know, but you don't know if they're going to be able to survive Arlong, because he's so ruthless and
He's so
bloodthirsty and
bad. He's not nice.
so angry. Yeah.
He not to compare again, but I'll just say like you're talking about that scene where Nami finally realizes she's been hoodwinked and she runs out into the field, she's stabbing the tattoo, and then then Luffy comes up and grabs her arm, and it's almost shot for shot, beautifully done in the live action. I just want to bring that up, and I can see why everyone was freaking out when they were like, the iconic scene, and I was like, what? Which one? Because there's so many, and then I realized it was probably that one because that was the most like I get kind of like emotional just thinking about the scene still. Like I get kind of goosebumpy and just how strong Luffy seemed in that moment. I loved that because he was always still kind of like, I'm just gonna go eat something and goofy, but in that moment he was just like, I got you.
It's almost like that's the moment when he grows up, when he realizes
he's very serious,
friendship, because the show is basically about friendship and about your ability to judge your friends as far as like who you can trust, who you can't trust. And you keep, in real life, you keep friends, you become friends with people because you trust them, and if they need your help, it's like, of course I'll help you, and that feeling of friendship just runs through this whole series, and it's consistent too, which is really nice because you realize that they're a good collection of friends is a family, and that's so important, and that's what the show I think is about.
And even his the reluctant crew members, I'm not on his crew, even they started realizing that Luffy's the real deal. And they started realizing how valuable he was. And you started seeing them make these big, grand gestures, even, putting themselves in peril by trying to save him or help him, which I thought was really cool. And just seeing the characters kind of come to Luffy like that was awesome. I mean,
and even there's that element of friendship, the depth of friendship thing that you see in their flashback stories. You realize that their connections, their friends and their family connections. When you see Nami's backstory, you realize she's lost. People, you lose people, and you feel this sense of like nothing is permanent because they can be so taken away so quickly, or you can lose somebody because you're trying to cover up for, you're trying to help them. And in part of your plan for helping them involves making them believe that you're being bad. So you lose that. And then with Zoro, he loses his best friend in a horrible, sad way, and makes a promise to her. So they come from loss, and then you see, Sanji's story where he loses the ship that he was on. And basically he goes through a process, I think, in the story, in the Baratie arc, where he is a symbolic growing up moment where he leaves home, and he has to say bye-bye to his parents. And that's a thing that happens with all of us, as we grow up. We love our parents, but there's a drive in everyone, like, I want to go out and make it on my own. I want to follow my dreams and not my parents' dreams. And
even if they don't agree with your dream, because even they don't all necessarily support his desire to want to be pirates. Technically doesn't have parents, but the people acted as parents,
the parental figures, and the importance of that as well, like, because we see that with Nami, where her mom, her mom in that wasn't really her mom, but is her mom. It's like not her biological mom, but is definitely her mom, her parental figure. And that is such an important bond as well. In some ways more, as powerful, and in some cases more powerful than a biological parent bond.
And that's a very good point. That's a very good point because it seems to be making that point that family is who's with you and supports you.
Yes.
So they're almost less a crew and more family. And they kind of, in a way, they kind of end on that, like this sort of allegiance to each other. And now we are our family. This is our family. You know, and I love that idea that now they're looking out for each other like their brother and sister, you know. I think that's a really pretty kind of sweet
because all
sentiment.
of them had different different kinds of parents. Luffy was the kid in the street, and the woman at the bar, and you know, his red-haired pirate father figure, and then
Sanji had Zeph.
Parent was Zeph, and you don't really know what his real parents.
No, like they are all kind of orphans. Yeah, it seems like they were all kind of orphans in a way. Like they all kind of found their like parent figure in someone else.
Yeah.
And that was kind of interesting. And so now that makes sense that they would all come together and be kind of their own family, the chosen family, you know. It's like kind of nice. I thought that was pretty great. So this arc was essentially one big battle. It was like they all converge on this island, and then it's one battle after another, and then Arlong's battle I think was like 5 episodes or something. It's insane.
Sometimes the battles go on a bit too long in the anime, and you feel like you want to. I don't want to, but sometimes I feel like I don't want to watch this fight. You know, the character stuff is so engaging and so fun. I want to get back to that. I want to see them interact, because when Sanji and Zoro are hanging out together, it's like I want to just watch the Sanji and Zoro show. You know,
I love them together. They're all bickering. They're so funny. But they know that they complement each other. When it comes to battle, they know the other one has their back. So I love that they get in there like, like you're just blah blah blah. Okay, let's do this fight now.
Right.
And they win, but there's still no match for Arlong, who just no one can beat because basically nothing can penetrate his skin. What are you gonna do?
Right. He's like Thanos, you know, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You can't beat it.
What are you going to do?
And you have to figure that's the thing about some action movies that I think that transcend the writing, the sort of cheap kind of writing, the easy kind of writing, where basically there's a fight scene and the good guy gets almost beaten down, and then he has his comeback and he wins. It's like they win by fighting, you know. That happens here, but what also happens is the fact that each person has a part to play in it. They play their role. Each person has their abilities and their skills and their strengths, and they bring that. And also, like with the well-written action stories, it's not always just how you're stronger. And sometimes they bring in a character like Arlong, who seems to be stronger than everyone. You can't, how can you beat him? So there has to be some extra, extra thing that comes into play other than just your fists and your, you know, gum Gatling. You know, it's like that doesn't work.
I love the gum, and you're like, what's it gonna be?
Gum pistol.
And I like too how he kind of has a kryptonite, like, you know, the salt water. Once he's in that, like, he's kind of out of commission. So that gives the other characters a chance to shine. Like, otherwise, they could just sit around and wait for Luffy to take care of everything because he basically is indestructible in a way. So I like that we had the weird octopus fight. That was pretty interesting. That was pretty great.
That character.
And it was such a weird character. And Zoro was not looking good for a while there. So that was kind of terrifying. But the octopus man would have been a lot of budget to do that, so I can see why they took it. And they didn't have the big cow,
ridiculous looking
sea cow thing. Yeah, it was a little dorky. And then the sea cow was probably just way too much big budget. I felt bad for the sea cow. It made me sad.
I know, they were sort of mean to the sea cow.
I didn't like a little bit surprised.
I know. Yeah, they were kind of mean to it, but but the sea cow comes back, I think.
Yeah, I hope
just guessing because I haven't seen this
yet. Does it?
But,
I don't want it to be hurt. I'm worried about the sea cow. I know they bring animals in. I'm just ridiculous. So then we have a few little mini bosses, we'll call them. We had the mini bosses, and then we go to finally, you know, it sounds like a video game. Then we end up at Arlong, and then they have that great fight, you know, with the inside the building. It was awesome.
Right.
And you know, you're just waiting. And I like how everyone says it almost, I feel like the characters in the show were almost like, is this gonna end? What's happening? It's like Luffy's gonna fight for 3 days.
Right. And we're gonna watch.
We're just gonna stand by and watch. They're in that building doing something. Where
he starts throwing through her desk out the window, and she sees it, and there's like a poignant moment where she's like, it's
Yeah.
almost a symbolic destruction of her, you know, imprisonment, you know, in Arlong Park, and that makes her feel like, and then they have this sort of this heroic legend moment of legend being created where they don't know what's going to happen. Is like, is he going to defeat? And the defeat, you know, I mean, we're sort of past spoilers with a 20-year-old show here,
And in live action, it's already ended. So.
And it's already ended. But he discovers, I mean, Luffy uses his brain and realizes, I know his weakness. I know what is going to get him to sort of go nuts in a way that I'll be able to take advantage of his losing his mind over losing the thing that's important to him, which is his desire to have a map of the world, which is why he kidnapped little Nami, because she is such a genius map interpreter drawer. And you know, the idea that she's so good at drawing maps, and they don't have a map of the world they live in.
No.
So whoever can have a map or get a map somehow would rule the world, you know.
Yeah.
That would give them an edge over the other pirates. And so when Luffy realizes that he can defeat Arlong by taking away Arlong's power, which is his maps. And then once he does that, Arlong is like suddenly like in a position where he's like, wait, you know, suddenly he's weakened, you know, and that's what weakens him enough to where Luffy can, you know, do the finishing blow or whatever it's called. Finishing move.
Exactly. And then, you know, after, you know, Nami's been so like all over the place and not, you know, kind of leaving them. I'm not the crew, but she finally decides, okay, I'm going to officially join you guys. You're my family, you know, and she leaves the island, even though, you know, everything had been kind of understood and everybody understood what she was doing and she wasn't the enemy anymore, but she knew that her family was now with Luffy and the gang. So that was also very touching and I get all emotional about it, but it was very, very cute.
She had trust issues, you know, she didn't know who to trust, and she did
good reason.
Yeah. And she had grown up in a situation where things can change in a heartbeat, you know, and you can lose the most important people in your life like that because of these horrible pirates. And Arlong did this terrible thing to her when she was little. And so she had the strength of character to sort of put that aside because she was playing the long game. She was playing this
really long game
and wanted her. I kind of wish that in the anime story that Nami had more of a hand in defeating Arlong.
I know she kind of sidelined in there, which I was hoping she would maybe get maybe the final blow or something or some extra thing, but
or he would know that she was there to see it, you know, to see him being. But you still don't know if Arlong's dead or not.
That's it's a classic thing of like, you know, are they dead or just gone? Who knows?
Right. So many times where they we won, we defeated the character, but then you see them rowing away in a boat later. Or
you don't see the body.
Right.
He's defeated.
Even if you do see the body, you know, you sometimes feel like there's a couple of scenes in the show where you see what appears to be the dead body of their enemy, but then later something happens to where they're revived or something. Yeah, it's
a miracle.
It's a rubbery, wiggly world, you know, that they live in. It's not reality, which is kind of cool. You have to get used to that type of world, you know.
And then like one of the big news is because Luffy has been badass as hell. So we've had like three big. Sorry, I interrupted you. We have three big villains. I know. We have three big villains that he defeated. And basically, I can consider them the big bosses. We got Buggy, Krieg, and Arlong. So because he defeated all these, what happens?
Right.
He gets the biggest. He gets a bounty that's the biggest of all of the East Blue, and he's so proud. Like I love it's like, you know, you think you'd see that like you're wanted, this wanted poster, right? And you're like, oh, 30 million berries or whatever it was, and it's like you think he'd be scared, but he's like, woohoo! Like he's officially a pirate now. Like he gets to be a pirate.
Yeah, so funny. And it's like it's like a proud moment, you know, where where he gets his dream. But the thing is, it seems like I don't know. He's still a little bit naive about it because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this means there's a bounty on you, Luffy. You know, do you realize?
Yeah, everybody's gonna be after you now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be after your ass. It's not gonna be good. And I like again and that was awesome. Put that back up there. I want to see that. That is great. Oh my god.
320,000, 320 million. Yeah.
Wow, 320 million berries. That's a lot. That's probably like $50 in like American dollars. Jesus Christ.
That's actually a picture of me. That's me a long time ago when I was in a movie.
I love that.
I played a gang leader in an old movie.
What movie was it? So that our fans can Evil in the Woods, maybe?
No, Double Dragon.
Oh, Double Dragon. See, he's been in so many movies I can't keep track. Double Dragon, now we know. See, I just taunted
one of my
him with
first roles.
Evil in the Woods.
Yeah.
So then, of course, you know, and this was also done very well in the live action, but you know, Shanks gets to find out. So Shanks is like, he really did it. Like I love that everyone's proud of him.
Yeah,
that he got
and they're
it.
cheering.
You know?
Yes,
I love that. It's like you think they'd all be like,
oh
no.
In Goodfellas, remember in Goodfellas when he got arrested and they were like, "Yay, you got arrested!
You did it!" Like he's all like, "Oh," they're like, "No, you're okay. Get used to it." Basically.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. So it was really cool to see, kind of almost see them in parallel tracks with the live action and the anime, but also I got to enjoy them on different levels because the anime is really you can see the inspiration, but it's really its own thing. And like you were saying, there's more characters, there's different characters, you know, they left, and I like that there's surprises. Like you can watch the anime and see villains that aren't in the live action. You can see whole sequences and storylines that aren't in the live action. So you're not wasting your time even by just going and watching this again, because it's not shot for shot or plot by plot. It's like they kind of picked and combined really clean, very elegant storyline, but there's still tons to enjoy in the anime. So that's why I'm looking forward to the next one. So we don't know what's going to happen because it's not in the live action. So we're on uncharted waters.
Like and then you can go and read the manga. You could go read the books, you know, because I remember seeing the logo for One Piece and seeing One Piece and seeing the Luffy character with his hat. Because I go to a lot of Japanese shopping centers here in LA. There's a lot of Japanese areas, and I always love to, you know, I love the books and the comics and all that kind of stuff. But I saw One Piece, and there was just so many of them that I decided, you know, it was like too much to get into, and it also just looked kind of silly to me, kind of one of those sort of silly anime things.
Yeah.
There was an old series a long time ago called Dr. Slump that was really ridiculous and funny, and I have some of those on like VHS tape from the old days. But I actually found out that I have a couple of the manga, the One Piece manga from like 20 years ago.
That's crazy.
And I'll bring them down next time and show and tell. But they're very different from the anime. I mean, similar to the anime, but that's yet another thing to explore.
Avenue.
You really want to get into it and be a complete.
Really want to dive deep into the.
Dive deep.
I can't even talk. So, and then Burke loves it so much he made us our own One Piece flag. You can support the show by buying this in our shop.
That's right.
You can buy your own One Piece inspired flag for Cinemondo. We think that's pretty cool. I think you did a very good job with my likeness. It's very nice.
It looks just like you.
It does. It's exactly what I look like.
Yeah.
I love that.
So it's almost too accurate. I don't know. I should have made it a little bit less.
To be more stylized. Okay, you. All right.
I have to really hold back my genius, my artistic genius.
We have to
pull it back a little bit,
restrain Burke from all his creativeness because it's just out of control, basically.
Yeah. Somebody stop me.
But so we're continuing. This is going to be an ongoing series. I hope you guys will tune in because we're so new. It's going to be fun to actually go back and watch some of it as we get into like the 500 episodes or this 800 episode to then go back and see some of our new ones where we're such little babies, little One Piece babies.
Well, now we're going to start on the stuff that wasn't in the live action.
No,
that's the cool thing about the next arc that comes up, like Log Town. Is that you're going into uncharted territory. You know, you're seeing things that you cannot possibly expect. And really fun stuff coming up in the Log Town arc. Really
So be sure and continue with us on our cruise through the One Piece anime, and we'll hopefully be done with it by the time season 2 comes out, and then we'll be experts. But in the meantime, keep suggesting anime. You guys have been doing that in the credits. I love it, because when we're done with this, I want to do more anime reviews like this, like doing sections at a time or something. That's really fun. It's been really fun, really different for me, very fresh. So love it. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Buy the shirt. Keep up with us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.